honored if you would join us. Dad? Drop it! Groovy.
This is Video Store Clerks. Welcome to the store.
Why, hello. It must be another Tuesday at 10 p.m. because we are the Video Store Clerks. I am Chad Man Rumsfield.
Hi, I'm Mike.
Chuck.
Well, hello, gentlemen. There is no Dave today. I think he got kidnapped by the Klopeks. So we will have to find out where he went later.
I was going to say, I saw him go next door, and he never came back. I know we got some new neighbors next door here at the video store. I guess he just wanted to, be friendly and go over and say hi, and he hasn't come back. So, I mean...
He made them brownies and never returned. I wonder what kind of brownies they were.
I mean, it's understandable if they're a certain kind. I've eaten a certain kind of brownies where I stay in the same place for about 6 hours.
Been there.
What are they, chocolate?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Those are good.
Yes.
Certainly.
But as we start every show, we will be first starting off with the news.
Hey Ray, start chanting. I kill everyone who is good news about.
You see Hoover Street here. Officials say it's one of the most dangerous streets in all of Los Angeles. And now...
We got you on film.
We have no idea why they would say it's the most dangerous.
Talk about proving a point.
Ridiculous, man. Right in front of fucking everybody. Witnesses everywhere.
I've seen that kind of shit before. So just like, man, don't you have any tact? If you're gonna break the law, don't do it in front of 1,000 people. Right, a film crew in the middle of the day.
Well, I'm sure they didn't realize that there was a film crew there.
Yeah, probably not.
Day.
Maybe that's why they wrecked. Maybe they looked over and like, hey, what the fuck are they filming? Oh shit!
I wouldn't be shocked.
We've done that before. Well, not quite wrecked, but then what the fuck are they filming? So this week in the box office, we still have Bob Marley One Love is number one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I want to see that shit. I still ain't got a chance to see it.
I heard
Demon Slayer in number two.
Demon Slayer?
Demon Slayer.
The Demon Slayer.
I don't know anything about it.
Madam Web is holding on to 3.
Get the fuck out of here.
Then Ordinary Peoples, or Ordinary Angels. Migration. Argyle's at number 6. Wonka's still hanging out at number 7. Drive Away Dolls is number 8. Number 9 is The Beekeeper. And Anyone But You, chilling down yonder. I'm kind of surprised. I have no idea what that's about. Do you?
I was going to ask you what it was about.
I have no idea. I don't watch movies. I just work at a video store.
Yeah, no shit. I'm starting to get to that point. I'm so out of touch with anything anymore. It comes
he just watches the same movies over and over and over again.
The good one. Yeah, fuck the new garbage.
Yeah,
it's true.
Fuck the new garbage.
But I will make a prediction that next week the number 1 spot will go to Dune 2. That's my prediction.
I thought you were gonna be. My prediction is Pain.
What?
Maybe Clubber.
Rocky 3.
Oh, not really a Rocky guy.
All right, so some news that nobody cares about. Disney Motion Picture Productions president Sean Bailey will be stepping down after 10 plus years, and it'll be going over to David Greenbaum, who is the head of Searchlight Pictures.
Interesting.
Told you nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit. It's like
The Crow is getting a What's that?
So it's not going to make it any better or any worse.
Right. Well, The Crow is getting a 30th anniversary 4K UHD Blu-ray with some extra features. And speaking of The Crow, the reboot remake has got a release date of June 7th.
Nice.
So I cannot wait for June to get here so I can either love a movie or hate it.
Yeah.
It's going to go one of either way.
Yeah, it's not gonna be down the middle. It's either gonna suck or it's gonna be good.
And Bad Boys 4 comes out then.
I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, I don't really care about that either, to be honest.
Yeah. Keep my wife's name. Yeah, I'm done.
They announced the American Psycho remake
for
movies that nobody wanted to see be remade.
Get the fuck out of here.
Speaking of, Roadhouse original writer R. Lance Hill is suing MGM for copyright infringement for the new Roadhouse. He's saying that they're using AI and ADR voicing, but they're claiming they are not. So they're looking forward to this case so they can shut it up really quick.
Oh, wow.
And that'll be it. And then Wonka director Paul King is looking to make Wonka 2. And we don't have any of that either.
The search for
don't really have a whole lot of great news today. Except for that the Crow Anniversary Edition is coming out.
Right.
And also it is Pokemon Day.
Cool.
I don't know. Apparently they released a bunch of the new series and cards and all kinds of shit that are coming out in the future for the Pokemon.
There's a million Pokemon people out there who are ecstatic right now.
Oh, 100%, yo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never did the whole Pokemon thing, but
no.
We'll see what happens.
Whatever,
Right.
Cool.
You a Pokemon guy, Mike?
No. Do you think Bob Marley would have been a Pokemon guy?
Maybe. No, I don't think so because of technology. I don't think he would have been all about technology these days.
You think he would have been like, "Hey, man, Pokemon."
Nice.
Pokey. Pinky.
No,
wasn't that a whole lot of news this evening?
No. Doesn't seem to be.
And I'm ready to jump into this lovely movie that we are about to talk about this evening.
What's that?
The 1989 The Burbs, which actually is a 35th anniversary as of February 17th. So 10 days ago. This movie came out 35 years ago, and now I feel extremely old.
I've been feeling that for a minute, but yeah, that doesn't.
I know, because that's all we've been doing really is anniversary editions, and now I'm just like, all right, so this is fun and all, but it's also depressing as fuck.
Yeah. So there's that's always the bad part about nostalgia. It's like you're like, oh, this is why it's nostalgia. Gotcha.
It's like this is just to help me fucking feel even older.
Yeah. Well, wait till we do the 100th anniversary of the Burbs.
I only could hope.
What? I couldn't. Then my hair really would be gray, and I wouldn't be wearing this fucking wig. Although my beard's about close, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, but Chad, I don't really think it. I mean, oh, your hair's going gray. I mean, would it really matter, dude? You plan on growing your hair out anytime soon?
No.
Me.
Get that Peter Boyle look.
Right.
There you go.
Anyway, back to the Burbs, directed by Joe Dante, and the script written by Dana Olson. And apparently, this whole thing came about a childhood experience with Dante because he grew up in a suburb, and apparently, in that suburb in the 1930s, there was a serial killer on the loose, killing people in the neighborhood.
Lovely.
Well, yeah, I think he even talked about it, how it's relatable to a lot of people nowadays, where, everything seems fine in the suburbs and everything like that. And you always have that one story, that mystery in the neighborhood. Like, so-and-so snapped one day and this is what happened. So, you always, in the little towns, you always have something happen one time or another. Yeah. And it becomes lore and urban legend. And, so it's very relatable as far as, people living in the suburbs and having that experience.
It's like Dick Miller said, there's only one way out of a cul-de-sac, and the people are weird.
Weird.
And she's half naked.
Naked ladies. I love how they just leave the trash there and get the fuck out.
Right? It's there like 2 days later.
Yeah, they drive over it.
This movie's so fucking good. Like, you can't go wrong. Like, I mean, you're living in like a little suburb cul-de-sac area, and your neighbors are possibly doing some shady, crazy shit. Because every night you see a big bright light come out from underneath their fucking house, and they're always in the backyard digging holes and shit. Like, how much better can that get? Like, that'd be some crazy shit living next to these people.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't need to watch TV. Just fucking hang out spying on them all day.
Like, how would you? Like, you couldn't just let it be. Like, I would be a complete paranoid mess. I'd be like, dude, I know for a fact there's some weird shit going on over there. Like, I
think that reflects it in this film. That same vibe.
Yeah. I mean, because what do you do? You know, because like we've all, I'm pretty sure we've all had those moments where we're like, oh, that neighbor down the road, there's something kind of, they don't ever come out till night, and you know, they're a little strange. Now I'm that guy. That's beside the point.
I was gonna say, I think your neighbors say that about you.
They do. But no, like, you know, I guarantee a lot of them do. But you know, we've all had those neighbors where we don't know, nobody knows anything about them, and they just kind of stay to themselves, and that's strange to us. This movie like completely proves that there is a possibility that bad shit is actually going on next door. And as a kid, this did not help my imagination at all, because as you can probably imagine, I had a crazy brain growing up, and and this movie was like always one of my favorites, because I'm like, see, shit could be like, I always like the whole idea of it, especially as I love the movie even more as I've gotten older, because as a kid it's just like, oh, that's just fun, blah blah blah, but like as an adult you're kind of like, you know, life gets kind of boring sometimes. You're just like, not really boring, but like kind of dull, and like sometimes like something should, you know, something crazy, like nothing too crazy, but I don't know. There's just something about the whole suburbs, but there's being something bad behind, you know, closed doors, like, you know, in the middle of a nice little neighborhood that I've always liked.
And it doesn't even necessarily has to be the suburbs, you know, just anywhere. Like you were saying, I feel like you get a better appreciation for it as you get older, because, you know, watching it when you're younger, you're like, oh, these guys are crazy. It's funny. It's got that little blend of comedy and touches on like scary stuff. But once you get older, you know, you can relate to the characters more, because it's like we're older now, and you know how it is, like living in a community or a whatever neighborhood you live in. There's always different characters, you know, everybody, all these different personalities, and being able to relate to the kind of monotonous life, like, oh, we're just, you know, everything's normal. We're cutting our grass. We're walking the dog, you know, all the typical stuff, until one day something comes along, and then it's like, this is weird. This is different. And, you know, like you said, you can't ignore something like that if it happened in your neighborhood, where, you know, it's something completely different from the norm. And all of a sudden, this perfectly fine neighborhood has this almost decrepit looking house and these strange neighbors. So it's like, you know, Ray's supposed to be on vacation, but he can't help but wonder what's going on over there.
That's what I like too, because like straight out the movie, like he just walks out because he hears this loud noises and shit, and like the wind's rustling, and he walks out in his like robe and shit, and then he just sees like the bright light and like the loud like whirring noise, and then next thing you know, it's morning, and you see like the music going on, and then like he's just sitting there by the window just staring outside from like the whole time when he was up, because he probably woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then just saw that shit happen. Then he goes like waits around in the kitchen just staring outside until like the sun comes up, and then his wife walks downstairs and she's like, "You're awake already?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like, I'm just sitting here watching fucking Queenie shit in Rumsfeld's yard. And she's like, "Oh, lovely."
Queenie is
Carrie Fisher.
Queenie is actually a famous little dog.
That's what I saw.
its name is actually Darla, you know. And if you remember from Silence of the Lambs, she was the dog that Buffalo Bill was holding in the well. And then in Batman Returns, if you remember the one chick from the Red Triangle Gang, had the little dog. That was the same dog. And
I'm a big fan.
There was another one I remember off the top of my head.
Dog has credentials.
No shit. Move over, Lassie.
Oh, and Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Pee Wee's Big Adventure. It was the pink poodle.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
Mm-hmm.
Learn something every day. That shit.
So, very famous dog.
It is
passed away in 92.
No. I'm not a big small dog fan.
I remember always thinking it was funny that Mr. Wilson from Dennis the Menace was in this.
Mr. Wilson?
As a kid. Because it's the same guy, right? Yeah,
Walter.
Yeah.
Walter.
Yeah, it was because he was the original, wasn't he? Wasn't he in Dennis the Menace? Or because it wasn't the movie, was it? Might have been the movie.
No, because that was Walter Matthau.
Oh, that's right. It was Walter Matthau.
Yeah.
He was the 60s
TV shows.
Dennis the Menace.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I knew that. Ridiculous.
Gale Gordon was the actor. I mean, I remember him doing something. He was heavily involved with Lucille Ball in his career. He was on I Love Lucy and a bunch of other stuff. And it's kind of neat. There's a little Easter egg if you pay attention. Whenever they go in Easter egg, whenever they go in Walter's house, they break in and they're looking around. There's a picture of Walter and Lucille Ball on the TV. So it's kind of a nice little Easter egg for people that were fans of I Love Lucy.
Huh.
See, I didn't see that, but I did see the Gremlin cereal box.
Cereal, yep. That's pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty funny.
This movie was always a favorite of mine since I was a kid, just because it did have that thriller comedy kind of shit going on.
Yep.
And anything that was like remotely scary, like sucked me in. And it also helped the fact that, like, I remember the scene with where he's watching the TV and then he has the nightmare.
Mm.
And it's like all the different, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, Exorcist, and all that shit.
Yep.
Like, I was like, oh shit. I don't know. It gains points for that for me. Any movie that mentions Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
Well, that whole scene cracks me up too, because like whenever he wakes up, like he's fucking laying in bed watching Mr. Rogers, and then 30 years later he's fucking playing Mr. Rogers.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. He did, didn't he?
Yeah. Like that shit blew my mind. I'm like, holy shit! Like I talk about fucking full circle.
Right. Such a good
He
movie.
did what, like Big right before this, I think.
I think
Or
so.
was that after?
I think it was before. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
I know at first he said he wasn't sure if he's going to take this role because he didn't know how to play a father.
Aja.
So he almost didn't take the role because he didn't think he wanted to play a dad on a movie. I was like, that's kind of fucking weird to turn a role down because of that. Like you are a dad. Because I mean, fucking Colin Hanks was on set all the time. And he was like 10 years old because he said he used to always try to hang out with Corey Feldman.
Yeah, why would he say that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's fucking weird, right?
Tom Hanks is an asshole, so whatever.
Yeah, he just did big in '88 and then Dragnet in '87 and Money.
I love Dragnet. See, that's the time period that's the Tom Hanks time period movies like that I prefer. Is like before he got all serious.
Yeah.
You know, like this to me, like this and Big and Dragnet, like all three of those are like classics and three that like as a kid I just loved. This one and Dragnet. Oh, Money Pit, yeah. That's right up there long too, man.
He did another movie before this too that had Carrie Fisher as his wife. Something about with a red shoe or whatever the fuck it was called.
Man with one red shoe.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that. Splash.
I don't either.
Yeah. I'm not. I never was like crazy about Splash. Like, it's all right, but like it.
Bachelor Party.
What?
Bachelor Party. That is a classic.
Oh. That movie is good. It's been a while since I've seen any of those, except for Money Pit.
But I mean,
Yeah.
you know, late '80s. You know, Hanks is starting to get his stride. You know,
Yeah.
Right. But I
Like,
couldn't imagine if he would have turned this down, who would play that role, because he was perfect.
oh yeah.
Like, I didn't really even see anything doing research about anybody that was originally casted for any other roles or spots or whatever for it.
right. And what's interesting is whenever he did Dragnet with Dan Aykroyd, one of the parts of Dragnet was filmed on that same street where the Burbs was, because they filmed it all on the back lot at Universal.
Right.
Probably.
It's still there. You know, it's been changed around a lot, but they did like Desperate Housewives there and a bunch of other productions. So you can, if you go on the Universal's tour, whenever you go to Universal Hollywood, sometimes they'll take you back there and you can see the houses. So some of them are still similar. Oddly enough, Ricky's house is the original Munsters house.
Yeah. So they said like they were doing the tours while they were filming this on the back lot. So they had to keep stopping filming because they were doing a tour. So they'd be like in the middle of a scene and have to just stop. And then they just fucking sit around for like a half hour waiting for the tour to go through. Like, everybody was getting pissed off.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they even allowed that, because now they block it off.
Hello,
Hey,
Melissa.
Welcome to the street.
But then they, because they said that the Munsters house was on a different lot, and they just kept grabbing houses from different lots and parts of like the Universal Studios and dragging them over there. That's why you don't really see Ricky's house too much, because it looks too iconic.
It was on the front lot and they moved it to the back lot and they had changed it around. I mean, you can tell little things, like if you compare the pictures of Ricky's house to the original Munsters house, you can see similarities, but they took off big parts of it and remodeled it, you know, because over the years it was getting run down and everything like that, because it's been around for decades. So, you know, a lot of those places are still there on the lot, but if you see them, they're going to look a lot different.
Yeah, he said like Tom Hanks's house was originally like the Leave It to Beaver house.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It's still there,
right? That's what I was saying.
Rumsfeld's house still looks pretty much the same.
What was his house?
Rumsfeld. Huh?
Was his house in anything special?
No. I think that's why it still looks the same.
Were you just on the tour like recently? Have you seen it lately?
When was I there? It was a few years ago. So, I mean, if you took a photo, like you're on a tram and you just drive by, so it's like you can't really get out and check it out. But if you take a picture of it and look at them, you can see the similarities. Like his house looks pretty much the same, except that, I think they put up a fence and some other stuff. But
every time I think of those backlot tours and shit, I always think of Impractical Jokers whenever Q had to fucking keep pulling the little cord to stop the bus.
Yeah.
That shit would be tough.
That would get on my nerves.
But this fucking movie, man, like I remember, I'm pretty sure in one summer, me and Gary watched this shit like fucking every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like just nonstop, over and over every fucking day.
Yeah.
And to this day, like I still am not tired of this movie. Like I think I've watched it like 4 or 5 times since we put it on our calendar for movies to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Like this movie's fucking great. Like I had it on twice today just for like background noise while I'm doing shit. And like you don't even need to like see what's going on because you already know.
Yep.
Like that's just burnt into your head. Just the dialogue is all you need.
No, I told Dax today because we watched this a couple weeks ago, and he really loved it then, a lot actually. And I told him, I was like, well, tonight we're talking about the Burbs. Like, you like that one, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, do you want to watch it again tonight? And he's like, okay. I'm like, all right, cool, kid. Simple as that. And then, but we're watching it, like he gets so excited because it does have that kind of like that suspenseful, those elements to that, where it's like, oh, you gotta go, they're here, and he gets, he gets very, very hyper. He gets very excited watching movies like this, and he was cracking up like just as hard as I was cracking up on it. And it's even though I feel really old because I remember watching this with my dad. You know what I mean? Like, I remember being the kid, you know, on the floor, like laying like this, like, you know, like looking like this close to the TV and like laughing my ass off. My dad over there, like doing what he did to laugh. He never really laughed much. He kind of just made like a except for when we watched There's Something About Mary. And it's the only time I've ever seen that man cackle. Like and it was that scene. Yeah. He was on his chair. I was on the couch. That scene happened. He almost fell over in his fucking recliner because he was laughing so hard. And I was like, why is that so funny to you? And I just is he
picturing you playing Woogie? I couldn't help myself.
Now going back and watching it with your son, what part would you say was his favorite?
Well, he got a kick out of the whole dream sequence. Mm-hmm. What was it? When Art got electrocuted. Anytime anybody got hurt, he laughed a lot on that one.
Yeah.
When they were in the house having the little like meeting, you know, they were meeting them, all that stuff, and Art was outside. He was getting really excited about like, you know, like, oh, he's got to go, you know, and the dog came running out, like he just started cackling. But I think he got
the basement.
Oh, the end of it where he's in the ambulance, you know, and when they fall out of the ambulance, he's like wrestling around with him, like Dax was completely doing, like he was waving his arms around, just getting uber excited with it, you know, and then when they run into the car and they see all the skulls, and the guy's just like, and then he just starts busting out laughing. I don't know why. He was like, because every time that he said citizens arrest, like he would get even louder while he was laughing. And I was like, I don't know. And the thing is, as a kid, I remember thinking that Tom Hanks had like the greatest voice.
Yeah.
Like he has that voice that a kid can just like listen to and like, that's hilarious, which is probably why he was so good as Woody, you know, but like he's so animated. He was so animated as an actor anyway, especially in this, you know, like, it's really cool. But like, yeah, those were a few of his. There was another part that he really, I can't remember which one it was. It might have been when they were digging in the trash.
It
might have been that, but yeah.
My taxes pay your salary.
I don't think I have a favorite scene in this. Like, I don't fucking know. Like every time I see like the scene that happens that makes me laugh, like that's my favorite scene at the time. Like, yeah, like, the fucking movie just goes by so smooth, and everything's fucking funny. Even like the shit that like isn't really meant to be funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what we were talking about last week with Spaceballs. You know, it's just one big, awesome scene. You know.
Yeah,
it really is.
You can just pick out little things from each scene that you enjoy, and it never gets old.
See, they also did something in the movie that I really appreciate because, like, you know, talking about how right off the gate, you know that there is something weird going on. Yeah. You're not watching them move in and like they're spying on them, they're moving in. You're not going all that shit. They've already lived there for about a month, and things have been kind of strange, and you already know, you know, which I love about it because there isn't a boring part in this movie. And no matter if that's just, you know, how well it was written, you know, obviously how well it was acted. But yeah, I appreciate movies. Movies don't do that enough anymore. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a short story. You gotta cut down, you know, some things. You kind of have to go right into it sometimes, and you don't get that enough with movies these days. But I really appreciated that from this one.
I would say, from what I've understood, is a lot of credit goes to Joe Dante and him being flexible with directing this flick, because you know he let Hanks and the guy who plays Art, Rick DeCommon, and Bruce Dern just kind of, you know, go at it. You know, a lot of times they said there was a lot of issues with the script, a lot of rewrites and going back and forth and struggles on the script, even, you know, up until the end, because there was a writer's strike getting ready to happen. So they were trying to hurry up and finish it, and they didn't get it done in time. And I think after the strike, they came back and filmed the ending. And there was like 3 different endings. Like if you watch the anniversary DVD, one of the older ones, it has the alternate ending where it's pretty much the same, except they catch the doctor trying to kill him instead of him flying out of the ambulance and everything like that. And there's a couple extra things, but then there was a whole other ending filmed where Ray ends up dying, and they didn't keep that, which is good because I think the ending they went with was perfect. You know, I don't have any qualms about it. I mean, you know, yeah, they wrap it up in a bow and everything like that, but you know, it's a silly film. It's not supposed to be like a fucking Law and Order or something. It's like, you know, everything's been silly up until this point, and you know, them come flying out of an ambulance and rolling down the street in a little gurney. You know, just, you know, it fits the film, you know. And it's like if you go back and watch that alternate ending, it's just like weird. You're just like, it doesn't feel as good. And then especially if Ray dies, you know, you've grown to love these characters way too much, and especially with Tom Hanks. You know, coming off of Big a year ago, you know, when you're younger, you know, everybody saw Big. And then, you know, so you love Tom Hanks. And then when you watch this film, you know, how can you not love these characters? So by the end, if one of them ended up dying legitimately in the film, I think that would kill the heart and spirit of the film.
Kind of like Clerks, the alternate ending to that, if they would have killed Dante
at the end.
Yeah, which I mean, that ending is just so out of place. You know what I mean? So I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't kill them off. That would have been. I mean, because I realized that there's a dark element to the Burbs, but it's not like that dark,
right?
No. Like it's just like a smidgen. It's like, you know, like, oh, let's say everybody loves Tom Hanks, blah blah blah, and then he's dead now, and it's like, well, this was supposed to be a family kind of comedy, kind of weird movie. Not like a family comedy, but you know, huh?
Would have been like Clerks 3.
Right. Well.
No, I would never have thought Tom Hanks would be the Tom Hanks he is now.
No, not in a million years. Nah. I mean, well.
I still remember the day me and Mike saw him outside the Waldorf Astoria and he was getting in his car. We were all just fucking hanging out trying to get him, but he just wasn't having none of it.
Of course not.
Well,
I leave my jokes to myself, but well, I mean, I'll tell you, I will say that I'm not surprised that he became the Tom Hanks he is. Like, you know, when he started started doing more serious roles and all that. Because my mom, as a kid, my mom played the Philadelphia soundtrack constantly in the van.
Yeah,
you know, so I knew about that movie and all that shit, and you know, and that's a very dramatic role.
Yeah.
And I think that was that like his first like really serious role that kind of showed people he could do more than just, you know, have a weird laugh. And
I think so. I think a lot of people would say Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah, that was like
a rom-com kind of deal.
Yeah,
a little bit. Still, but it went more towards him.
You can't say that about Philadelphia. Definitely not about Philadelphia.
Because it's like you hit Philadelphia, and then you go right into Forrest Gump, and it's like, you know, now you've transitioned.
Yeah. That's whenever he became the megastar.
Yeah. And real quick, I have to ask: am I the only one here that thinks that Forrest Gump is an overrated piece of shit? Am I the only one here?
I wouldn't say it's a piece of shit, but I mean,
it's not something I watch a lot.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's long.
The movie is just there's nothing redeeming about it. Okay, they have some cool like special effects and they did all this kind of shit for that time period. No, that was pretty cool, like superimposing them all this stuff. All right, great. But the story is just horrible. That is a horrible fucking plot to a movie. Everything about that's horrible. This poor guy, he's very clearly like, you know, mentally incapable to do certain things. Everybody just gives him shit his whole life or just feels bad for him. And like even in the end, he gets fucked.
I just thought it was an AIDS PSA.
That's what it seemed like. Like that movie, I think gets too much fucking praise. I think that yeah.
I don't think I've ever
anything better than that. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen all the Green Mile.
Man, Green Mile was a great movie. I being a fan of reading the little novellas before it was a movie. Like I was a big fan of how the movie came out. I mean, Stephen King was all about it too. He came and took a picture in Old Sparky and then left. It was on his birthday. But yeah, Green Mile was a good one.
Yeah, I mean it was smart of Hanks to kind of transition into that because it's like he completely kind of left comedy behind and he goes into these
Right.
big films like we were saying with Philadelphia and Forrest Gump, Green Mile, Castaway, Band of Brothers. You know, I mean he's just doing all this serious stuff and really showing his chops. And you know,
Saving
I don't
Ryan's
know.
Privates.
On the side is Toy Story.
Yeah.
Well, that's how he gets at his like comedy element at that moment. He's like, I'm being too serious. Do we have another Toy Story movie? Okay, we do. All right, great. I really need it now.
Because
like,
I mean,
think about it.
That's the 90s. I mean, by this time, I guess it makes sense because he was born in 56, so he's about 40 years old at this point. So, you know, him just still doing comedies just seems like, you know.
They say he was 31 whenever he filmed The Burbs.
31. That sounds about right. Yeah, 87.
He was just a youngster.
Yeah.
I'm 40 now. I can say those kind of things.
And maybe him. He had one of his kids was born in 90, so maybe that changes people. Especially like Eddie Murphy and Adam Sandler. These guys, once they have kids, you can see how they transition into different roles.
Yeah.
Especially Eddie Murphy. That's like night and day almost. And I don't know. It changes people. There was who was it? I can't remember. Somebody was saying how they said that they wanted to do films that their kids would be able to watch.
Yeah.
And
I think Eddie Murphy actually said that at one point too.
Maybe. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. Because it's like, I'm not gonna. It's like, hey, I had this great career. Let me show you what I did. And then it's like, here's Eddie Murphy raw, and you're like, ugh.
Let me introduce you to Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
Right. fuck.
This movie fucking has like so many quotable scenes too. Like I know we fucking sit around and quote it all day. But you can fucking just literally like to the point where if you watch this movie enough, you're just pretty much repeating the lines as they're saying them because you've fucking seen it so many times.
You saw one
And
of
it's
my
just so
skulls,
funny.
didn't you? Maybe I'll just take yours. That guy, man, I remember like watching because my dad used to tape everything, and he had like this laugh-in like cassette like tape that he would tape like all that shit on. And I remember watching this and being like, "Hey, it's that guy from Laugh-In," and he's a little bit creepy in this. Like, even though it was the comedy element of it because he was such a short little guy and he's kind of goofy and all that shit or whatever, but it's like that just makes him creepier. Like, I wonder if I don't want to throw that in the universe. This is too good of a movie. I mean, you could totally turn this movie into, if somebody was to ever remake it, I'm not saying anybody should ever fucking touch this movie. This movie's gold. Everything about this movie is fucking perfect.
You just jinxed it, Chuck.
Probably. We're gonna find out like fucking Blumhouse is coming out with a remake, and it's a serious one with a special appearance by Dern.
Bruce Dern.
Yeah. Hans Christian Andersen. It's a good little Christian name.
He's so fucking good in this movie.
The doctor was Henry Gibson.
Where you go?
Played by Henry Gibson. And it's funny because he comes across, he looks like he's a serious actor, but most of his stuff has been comedy. If you look back at his career, he was in Blues Brothers. He was like the Nazi guy from Blues Brothers.
He was in Kentucky Fried Movie and Amazon Woman on the Moon.
Yeah. He was Wedding Crashers. He was the priest or whatever. So a lot of his stuff has been comedy, but he looks like a guy would be a serious actor.
He plays a doctor in most shit though.
Yeah.
And then I think the other brother, Rube, I think his real name is what? Brother Theodore?
Well, that's what he's credited as. Yeah, Brother Theodore.
It's a shame we didn't really get to get to come over and see the Naps when they were here. Lucky for them. Fortunate for them, or whatever he says.
We didn't even see him move in. There was a van parked outside all day.
It's like, man, what a creepy old fucking bastard. Like, good God, man. And the thing is, I hate to say it, but like you have you know, you have one guy over there who's basically interrogating him, and then you have like Tom Hanks over there, like about ready to just lose himself, like just completely just not know. And I feel like that would be me. I'd be the one guy that'd be like, oh, this shit's real. This is fucking real. I'd be the one that would let the fucking dog out and ruin everything.
That's what's great. Like they don't ever really say what Tom Hanks does in the film, but then like he's on vacation, and then his buddy Art lives to the left of him, and then across the street, and you don't ever know what Art does either, really. And then all you know about Rumsfeld is that he's ex-military.
No.
And then you got Ricky Butler. You don't ever see his parents ever, so he's just some like teenage kid fucking chilling out trying to paint the house during the summer.
He just nothing done.
Where are your parents?
Well, I think he even says they'll be back in a week or something like that.
Yeah.
You got to imagine it's like, you know, summer vacation, you know, Ray's taking a couple weeks off. His parents are gone, you know, all that.
And then fucking Art's wife's out of town visiting her mother.
Hey, Art, your wife's home. My wife's home.
It's better. It's even better because they're like, Art, your wife's home and your house is on fire. It's like, my wife's home. He's more worried about that than the house being on fire. Oh, such great characters.
I love Art though. Rest in peace. Yeah. Hey, he's one of my favorite like supporting roles in a movie like this. Just because he is the perfect, like, you know, buddy next door.
Yeah.
You know, he's the guy that comes over and is like, hey, man, you want to, like, you know, have a couple of beers or whatever? And, you know, see what our neighbors are doing next door? Like, you know, like, my dad didn't have many friends, but my mom sure as hell had some fucking nosy-ass friends. So, like, I can kind of understand it. So it's like, when I was a kid, like, wondering, like, what the fuck do our parents talk about when we're not around? And it's like, you see movies like this, you're like, do our parents really like have these weird ideas in their head of all this kind of shit? And now I'm an adult and I'm a fucking parent, and I go, yes, most likely my fucking parents have weird conversations about weird shit just like I do. And this movie probably isn't too far off from a lot of those conversations.
I just like your intro to Art when he's just like kind of creepily walking through the backyard with a fucking pellet gun shooting crows.
Art's got a gun.
What?
And he's gone to the extreme that he's like got bushes on him, draped on him, like he's gonna fool the crow, you know.
And then he just walks into fucking Ray's house and starts eating everything, including like wet dog food. Like he's just fucking like smashing plates of breakfast foods, and then he grabs a handful of fucking dog food and fucking scarfs it down, and reaches in the fridge and pulls out the rack of ribs.
The pineapple.
I've been that friend before. I have been that friend that comes over to see like my buddy and his wife like and hang out and like whatever. There's like plenty of leftovers. I'm the guy that's like, just load me up. The wife's and usually the wife's fine with it because it's just gonna go to waste anyway, or it's gonna sit in that refrigerator for 3 weeks. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. But God, he man, because me and Dax are both watching, and I'm like, you know, he really does eat a lot in this. Like, like even though like his character really wasn't, or he wasn't, but his character was. It's just like, man, what kind of shit was he smoking to have that much of a fucking hunger?
Oh, he was a big guy. Like he did stand-up comedy, and I think he said he was up to like 400 and some pounds at one point.
Oh wow!
And if you go back, he was talking about it on Arsenio Hall whenever he was promoting the Burbs. He lost like 210 pounds. So you know, he got to the point where they told him like, if you don't lose the weight, you're gonna die, and he ended up doing it, and this was one of his like biggest roles, up until that point, because it's like, if you look back, a lot of times you've seen him in like we said last week, he was in Spaceballs, just a bit part. Die Hard, he's in that. Whenever they cut the power, oddly enough.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Huh. Shut it down now. So it's funny because in the Burbs, he acts like he's like a electrician guy going up on the telephone pole, and he knows what he's doing. And then over in Die Hard, he's kind of the same role. So
it's like all it takes is one snip of one wire. Aye, Captain.
But
that would be so fucking good.
I just wish he would have had more of a bigger career. I mean, even like I said, bit parts. Groundhog Day, You know, he's one of the drunk guys in Groundhog Day, and
Too early for flapjacks.
yeah. He was Cindy's dad in Scary Movie.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I did too.
A lot, you know. This I would say Burbs is probably his biggest role and his best role, and I would have liked to see him have a lot more because I think he's a really funny actor, and it's a shame he's not with us anymore.
He's a funny guy.
How long ago was it when he passed away?
He passed in 2015. So
Wow.
9 years ago.
Wow, because I'm over here thinking it was just a couple of years ago.
I thought it was 17.
Yeah.
Wow, time flies.
Right.
Yeah,
But
he definitely.
Good. Good.
No, I was just gonna say him, and among all the others. I mean, like, because I mean, whatever. Like, there's so many good actors and actresses in this fucking movie. And one thing I wanted to touch on a little bit was, man, Carrie Fisher really showing like how good of an actress she was, because she was always kind of a rebel, you know, throughout her career. She got in trouble, she did all this stuff. But man, she played just like the perfect housewife. Like just the, you know, she just like the classic, you know, like, oh, blah, 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 you know. I don't know. And she was just, I don't know, she was I think that she was a more attractive. I was more attracted to her in this than even as Princess Leia. But maybe that's just because I've gotten older, and maybe I don't know. There's something about it.
Because I think when we were talking about this, David said the same thing, that he really thought she was attractive in this one. And I'm like, well, I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but I don't know. Oddly enough, Ray talks about her changing her hair in the film, and that was my big problem. I don't like shorter hair on women, so whenever she's got it, she's got it cut shorter in this film. So it's like, she's still beautiful, but I'd rather.
It's funny because one of my teachers actually used to date Carrie Fisher back in the day.
Oh wow!
He told me about that, and every time I see her now, I'm just like,
yes, sir.
Good job, Jerry. Good job.
Hats off to you,
Jerry.
So fucking good. And then whenever you first see fucking Corey Feldman make his return in a Dante film like Gremlins,
right?
Fucking jamming out to some Circus of Power War Machine. Mrs. Brumsfield. No tan lines today. Look nice.
Yeah.
Kid Next Door is a meatball.
He's so fucking good in this movie. I don't care what anybody says.
Was the
meatball
reference?
I thought it was funny that, like, going back and just like watching some shit about the movie and interviews and shit, and they were talking about how, like, because back in the day, like, he was like good friends with Michael Jackson, so like Michael Jackson would be on set, and even though in days like Michael Jackson wasn't on set, like Corey would still bring Bubbles, and Bubbles would like hang out in his trailer the whole fucking time.
That's
and then he started throwing shit one day and got kicked off set.
That was the rumors. I think they said Dante had told that story to people, but then Corey Feldman denies that story. He said it was one of the other actors that plays like that's hanging out with him with Ricky. I don't know, one of his buddies there. He actually he had like a spider monkey or something, and he was telling Corey Feldman about it. And Corey Feldman was like, "Oh man, I want a monkey. That sounds awesome." And he's like, "No, you don't want a monkey, man. They're fucking too much trouble. They're too much work." And he's like, "Nah." He's like, "I'll show you." And he brought in his monkey the one day and let it hang out with Corey, and it was just wrecking everything and shitting everywhere. So allegedly, that's a story. So I don't know who you want to believe, Corey Feldman or Joe Dante, but I don't know if Bubbles was hanging around on set shitting everywhere.
Yeah, it should be funny though.
Yeah, I don't know. Corey Feldman's. You never know with that guy. You never know what's real and what's fake.
I mean, that was a weird time for Corey too. Like I was.
Yeah.
Peak crazy Corey moments.
And younger people probably don't even get that Meatballs reference. Obviously.
I was going to say that those references to the movie Meatballs he was in, right?
Yeah. The 1979 Meatballs with Bill Murray.
It's been a long time since I've seen that one.
Because what year did Corey do Meatballs? Was it like 90? 92? He did Meatballs 2 and Meatballs 3, I think.
92. He did Meatballs 4.
4?
Yeah.
Whatever. Whatever.
I vaguely remember that movie.
I remember the first one. I don't remember the sequels at all.
USA Up All Night used to play the most random, you know that. They used to play the most random movies, like part 2 of this and part 5 of this. And it's like, there's always a guess on what the hell was going on. But yeah.
Because they all start to blend together. It's like, oh, you know, now we're watching Meatballs. Now we're watching Porky's, you know. And it all
looks like I'm not the only one. Yeah.
Well, I didn't even realize they made a Porky's 3 until like this past like a year ago.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I'm sure that's probably lovely.
I don't know. I found it, but I never really.
Right? It just means I was right.
Yes.
We agree.
No, but this movie's so fucking good. Like, I could actually just get off here and watch it again, even though it's already been on my TV twice today. Like, I was cooking dinner and had it on, and
It really is just a fun movie.
It is, man. Like, you can't go wrong with this movie at all. Like I said, like if you watch it a couple times, like there's so many fucking quotable lines. Like me and Mike always quote, "Let's go down to the deli and get one of them beef sandwiches."
And that's
one of that shit all the fucking time. That's
one of the most like if you ask people, that's not one of the quotes that they would remember the most, because it's just it's like you almost don't even hear it, because you know he's talking. They're out in the garage and he's talking about his tools and everything like that. And he's like, hey, "You want to go down to the deli and get one of those beef sandwiches?" And it's just one of those off lines, but it's so funny because he just ate like a shit ton of food.
Right.
Yeah. He just smashed like 3 plates of breakfast from fucking dog food, ribs, pineapple, and then he wants a beef sandwich.
And another one we do a lot is whenever Rumsfeld yells over at Ricky and he's like, "Hey, Ricky, get this lame-o out of your yard." And Corey Feldman's like, "Hey, lame-o, get out of my yard." Because that kid yells up to Rumsfeld and he's like, "Hey man, piss off." I don't know. Bruce Dern is so fun. Everybody in this film is just on point, man. You know,
I like how Tom Hanks like keeps going back and forth throughout the whole movie. Like one minute he's like just like, "Art, leave me the fuck alone. You're out of your mind." The next minute he's like, "There's something to this." It's like complete influence from your friends. Because he's just like, "Just leave me alone, Art. God, I just want to sleep." I told Dad that moment, I was like, because where he's sitting, I just want to sleep. I just want to sleep. I just, you know. And I was like, "Who's that sound like?" He goes, "You." Like, yeah, it does. It really does.
I like that scene though. Whenever they go over to the Klopex house, and then they come back over and they're having their little meeting or whatever, and then he's like, "I need to go talk to the boys in the den," and then he's like, "Why don't you take your balls out of your wife's purse?" And then he starts like reaching up his pant, up his short pant leg, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" Then he just like pulls out the fucking the wig. Walter's toupee, and he's like, "You've had that in your trousers all day?" He's like, "Where'd you get that?" And he's like, "Over there." And the next thing you know, fucking Rumsfeld's like, "What do we do now, soldier?"
Well, that's the great.
That whole fucking scene cracks me up.
You know, he's trying to keep everything rooted in reality, and he doesn't want to kind of give in to these crazy notions, because he's like, "Oh, I can't be that ridiculous." But it's like he sees little things that makes him wonder. And I to me, you know, before they actually have any kind of significant evidence, I think whenever that night he looks out the window when it's raining and they're in the backyard digging, I think that would be the tip off to me. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
They're out in the fucking trash.
Maybe they're fishermen.
Yeah, it's like maybe they're fishermen.
Fishermen,
you know, like they. That's just so good.
Night crawlers.
Night crawlers. Yeah, you know, there's a couple fishermen.
Like I love it when even, you know, the beginning of the movie where you know, Bruce Dern's across the street and he's watching as, you know, Art and what's Tom Hanks' character's name?
Ray.
They're watching them. He's like, They're trying to see who's going to go up there and knock on the door or whatever the hell it is. It's just so funny because like again, it goes back to people watching and remembering times as a kid, or like even now, like when you go outside, like there's a lot of times, especially in a certain mind frame, where I open the door and I look outside and it's just like there's something insane going on everywhere I go. It's just like, oh, you got kids over here like crying and shit over here. Then you got this woman and man arguing over here. And it's just like, I just want to go back inside. I don't know what's going on here right now.
Do it, Mr. Peterson. Yes.
It's like, you know, anytime you've seen a movie or heard a legend of like a house being haunted, or, you know, somebody weird lives there and you never see them, you know, it's like, oh, go ring the doorbell, you know, I dare you, you know, that type of thing. And it's like these characters come across as like big kids, you know, a lot of the stuff they do. It's like whenever Ray, you know, he's sitting there and they're trying to get him to come out, and Carol comes out and she's like, no, boys, you know, he can't come out. He's not feeling well. And he's just like, oh, come on, Carol. And she's like, you know, not until he resembles the man I married. And they're like, we don't got that kind of time. And then she takes him inside and they just kind of like kick rocks and like walk off with their hands in their pockets. Like, oh man, our friend can't come out and play. So, you know, it's very childlike adults, you know, kind of like us, you know?
Right. I mean,
I was going to say like a lot like us.
Yeah,
if we lived in a
very
cul-de-sac,
relatable.
I could easily see this shit going down this way.
Oh man, can you imagine if we all of us lived in a cul-de-sac?
No, everybody else would move out.
Yeah, man, could you imagine the craziness?
Yeah,
like I always like that scene too. Whenever they fucking find the dog brings the bone over, and he's like, Ray, this is a human thigh bone. And he's like, this is Walter. And they do like the fucking close up and like the pan in and out of them screaming.
That's the other scene Dax cracked up at. Yeah, me too.
That's weird because just a little while ago that my dog brought something over outside the video store. I was like, what is this? And it's like,
that's Dave.
Is this
this
is a femur.
We should have planned that better.
This is a human femur. I mean, look, take a look at the size of this thing. It didn't come off a chicken.
You do that way too well.
Guys, I think this is Dave.
All right, I was a little early. My bad. Nice.
Whenever he takes off fucking running towards the screen door and she fucking opens it and smacks him in the face, then he just gets all pissed off and just grabs 2 beer cans and crushes him and throws him down.
You feel better?
Nah.
It's a complete dad move. That is a complete dad move when you're having just that day. It's like I gotta throw
so
something.
Yeah.
This is a classic.
Sardine?
Oh God, yeah. My dad. I remember watching this movie with my mom and my dad when I was little before they divorced. And my dad, well, like when they had that scene, my mom's like, and he's like, well, not that bad. Just like little salty things, not too bad. Now, I used to work at a Little Caesars in the town that I lived in, and there was only 2 people in town while I worked there who ordered like anchovies on, like double anchovies on their pizza. That was my dad.
Gross.
Yeah. My dad loved all that shit. My dad never understood why people gagged at that scene. I'm like, really? That's disgusting.
Yeah.
I think the little touch that he adds in that scene is whenever he's going to hand him the sardines, you know, offered to Tom Hanks, you can hear a little like
that squishy noise.
Well, the squishy noise and the fly, the buzzing sound of the fly. And like as soon as he takes it out and eats it,
probably rotten.
The fly sound isn't there anymore. So it's like, you know, it makes it that more disgusting whenever you hear like flies that are in this food or whatever, you know.
Right.
I just like how obvious they're making it that they're pretty much grilling these people.
Oh my God. And it's so ridiculous because they go into this is the first time they're ever seeing these people and they're in their house, and you got fucking Bruce Dern's character peeling wallpaper off. And just doing all kinds of crazy
inconspicuously
shit.
Too.
Yeah.
Which is great too. As soon as they walk on the porch, he falls to the floor. There go the goddamn brownies.
Yeah, we say that all the time too.
Here's for your sweet tooth.
Yeah, he just picks them up and gives it back to Here, there you go.
Here's just for your sweet tooth.
and then whenever whenever the one Klopek says something, he's like, no. And Bruce Stern goes, I think that's about a 9 on the tension scale, Rube. It's just like they're so unapologetic whenever they finally meet these people. They're like, you know, we're on to you. And it's like we have no intention of being your friend here. We're just like over here spying, you know, as opposed to the women who are actually trying to be friendly neighbors and everything.
Right. Well, then, like by the end of it, he's just like, "What do you got in the basement, Eric Lopek?
No,
you keep a horse in the basement?"
But the whole scene
dog goes running
when he's out there, like he's trying to sleep and all that shit, and Art's telling him about the note. And he's like, God, no, you know, it's just like, what? No, you know, and then like they do the whole like screaming thing, right? And then he's like, stop, and then the guys, you know, the old man's walking, and then like throws the note over, and he goes, you know, it could be a receipt for anything, you know. Nope, it's my note.
It could be like a candy wrapper.
Yeah.
That's when your friend knows he fucked up.
Maybe he's a litter bug, you know.
It's probably my favorite scene though. Whenever they break into fucking Walter's house, I was talking to Mike about this shit like yesterday or whatever, and fucking Art again is like, I'm hungry. I want to go in the kitchen, and he fucking walks in there and he's like, hey, look, I found this plate of cook, and then fucking Corey Feldman opens the door, fucking plate shatters, and you just hear Tom Hanks. That's just great.
That's great. Oh my God, that scene always cracked me up, and it took them like a bunch of takes. They have the outtakes clip on one of the DVDs or whatever, and if you watch it, it took forever for them to actually do it because either Corey Feldman would come in too soon or too late, or Dukaman Art would never hold the plate close enough to where it hits, and then finally it hits. So, but
there's a couple scenes too where he just dropped the plate and it like didn't even break.
No.
I have to see though. I haven't watched any of the bloopers and shit.
It is so fucking funny. I love bloopers.
Oh yeah, especially
I just like actors having fun and like genuinely laughing. Like that's my favorite shit.
I like bloopers in certain horror movies too. Like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre one has some golden, like has some good ones on there. Like where Shelley's he can't get the wheelchair through the thing, he just falls over. And what makes it even funnier is the fact that it's silent. It's silent bloopers, and just like, oh yeah,
because there's no sound in any of that shit.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for all those outtakes and stuff, man. I still say that probably one of the best outtakes have been from Eastbound and Down, and I don't know if you know what scene I'm talking about, the one with Will Ferrell,
Rick
as the guy, and he's like, my plums.
Down in my plums.
That the boy watch. Like watching the outtakes for that. Every time I crack my shit up watching that.
I think that's Will Ferrell's best character ever.
It's probably one of the funniest. You know.
That or fucking what's his face from Zoolander.
Ooh, I hate that fucking movie. I would have to say Step Brothers is one of my favorites. I think that movie.
I'm not big on the movie, but his character fucking kills me in that movie.
Oh yeah.
I like Zoolander.
Both those guys are hilarious in that one, but whatever. I digress. But yeah, no, The Burbs. This would be a movie that I think that will. Dude, when I posted about watching this earlier, like immediately there was a bunch of people just being like, you know, oh, I love The Burbs. This is one of my favorite movies of all time because it's a
sleeper film.
It's a what?
It's a sleeper movie. Like this is another one of the movies we did that like never really got like a big box office smash, but then over time it just grew this giant cult following. Yeah, I think it had like a budget of 18 million. It only made 50 million in the box office. So, I mean, it made some money, but it didn't fucking blow up until like years later. They said once it was released from VHS, it fucking just the sales are just kind of like Fight Club,
right?
And we just talked about a few weeks back. Like it did terrible in the fucking box office, but once it was released on film, it fucking had like record sales for DVDs.
Yeah. You know, because, you know, it's, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's an acquired taste, but it's my taste for sure. You know, it's
Me too.
Like, you know, like last week we talked about Spaceballs, and this one, it's like you can queue those up anytime, and I'm down to watch them, and they never get old.
Right. Yeah. Like instant. Like, I mean, I could watch any of them any time of the day. Like if you were just like fucking chilling every day and be like, yo, throw one of them on, I'd be like, go.
Yeah.
Like, no problem.
For sure.
Like, it's such a fucking good movie. But going back and rewatching it though, like I don't know if I can pick anything else that I haven't noticed in this movie. Like I'm pretty sure like
I was trying to.
in like the last month is whenever I first noticed the Gremlins cereal box.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Like I never noticed that before. And then that's whenever I was like, okay, I figured like, you know, like maybe because Corey Feldman was in the movie, so they threw that in there, but I didn't realize that Joe Dante did Gremlins too.
Yeah, he did Gremlins and Gremlins too. So that's
so then like I was like, well, that's fucking pretty good.
Yeah. I did notice something at the end, which that nobody even talks about, is whenever the trunk pops open and it's got all the skulls and stuff in there. If you go back and watch, like before Ricky lifts up the blanket, you see the blanket move. So it almost looks like somebody's underneath the blanket. So I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was like something that they tried to film like as part of the alternate ending, and then it just got cut into there somehow. But if you go back and watch it, you can see the blanket move. So that's just something different.
Yeah, you talking about the end of it with the skulls and stuff?
Yeah, you noticed that
I
too?
always wondered that. When I was a kid, I was like, but if they're all skeletons, why are they moving? Like, why is that the? Why is that the? You know, how
like
he
I said,
noticed something.
Well, like I said, where they were debating on the ending, and they filmed a lot of stuff. So maybe they did a scene where somebody was supposed to be tied up in the trunk as like a hostage or something like that.
Right.
And that just never saw the light of day. You know,
Maybe it was supposed to be the naps.
Yeah, you know. So who knows? But it does move. Maybe it's just an error. You know.
I mean, there could have been an alternate thing where they were going to have like, you know, be a little more graphic, you know, like maybe somebody is like half alive in the back, you know, and or some shit. Probably thought it was probably too much, you know, going back to like the killing like Tom Hanks thing. That wouldn't have worked out great at all for that movie.
No,
you know,
that'd have been an ending on a down note.
That completely would have been a down note on that one,
especially after everything.
Yeah,
you know, it is a beautiful night tonight. Yeah. Green sky in the morning. Neighbor take warning.
Green sky at night.
Neighbor take flight. And it's just everybody keeps like poking at Tom Hanks's character, and it just tried to get him to come to the dark side with them, where it's like, you know, just give in, you know. Especially the one scene that we haven't even talked about yet is when they're down in the basement, and it's Art and Ray, and he's sitting there with the demonology book and reading all this crap, and he's like, take a look at this, man. This happens all the time. You get black masses and
I don't want to listen to you.
The incubus, the succubus.
Chanting Satan is good. Satan is our pal.
Yeah. He's like, Ray, you're chanting. I want to kill everyone. Satan is good. Satan is our pal. What's they getting here?
It's so good, man. It's just so
and
good.
When he tells the story about Skip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one. It's good.
It's like, oh, fun. You think it's funny?
It's like, hey, Ray, it's me, Art. I'm just dressed like Skip. He's having that fucking weird dream.
Yeah.
As a kid, that scene literally used to freak me out.
That's the darkest scene in the movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because, he's watching, I can't remember which movie he's watching. But, I mean, it's that uber satanic scene, and then you got the
wasn't that called, like, The Ritual or some shit?
Yeah. I want to say it was one of those old school Hammer films. I can't remember.
I mean, it was definitely something from the 70s.
Yeah. I mean, but there was also, like, tons of those movies that had scenes just like that.
That's whenever he's doing that flipping through the stations thing, and he sees that little ritual thing, and then he sees Texas Chainsaw 2, or The Exorcist in Texas 2.
Yeah, Dax
actually sees the big ass chainsaw blade coming through his fucking wall as he's coming down the steps.
That was the thing that always stuck in my head when I was younger, is when the giant chainsaw comes through the wall. I don't know, for whatever reason, that always stuck in my head. That was like a cool scene.
Yeah,
whenever he's on the barbecue, Hans has the chainsaw.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's another one we haven't talked about. Good old Courtney Gaines Malachi.
Yeah.
From Children of the Corn.
I saw the corn.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that before. I've never seen anybody drive their trash to the end of the curb and then smash it down with a stick. I've never seen that.
Yeah, no shit.
Rain delay.
He's got a goddamn
good
infrared sniper scope.
While he's for Corey, he's like, Mr. Rumsfeld, you got a gun? And he's like, shut up, Ricky.
He's kind of almost like the Donnie character in this. You know what I mean? Especially, you know, like how Walter and Big Lebowski has, like, you know, the military background and all that shit. And then you got how old dude is with Corey Feldman in this movie.
Yeah,
makes sense. You're out of your element, Donnie. See, makes sense. Classic movie though.
So fucking good, man.
They don't make comedies like this anymore.
Race with the Devil was the name of that film.
What was it?
Race with the Devil from 1975.
Does it say it had any alternate names or anything?
No, because they were talking about how to get the PG rating, they had to cut out like 26 seconds of the film, and it was from those films. So, because I mean, you know, if you watch it, like they're doing like some human sacrifice or whatever, and like that you can. I think they blurred out the tits or whatever on the chick.
Well, yeah, because it's on TV.
Right.
Because at first, because I couldn't remember, and I had Dax. I was like, turn your head. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. It's all blurred out. You're good.
Yeah.
I mean, you can clearly see there's something crazy going on with that, too. I didn't think about that, but whatever. I was like, what they're doing, Dax, is like, are they sacrificing her? I was like, see, I don't have to even explain you. You already know this shit. You're a smart kid. Keep watching. Yes, son. That's exactly what they're doing.
It's the emergency alarm. So fucking good. Red Rover. Send Art over.
That's great.
Well, then I like the scene too whenever fucking Art's climbing the fence and they're like, be careful. He's like, with all the wiring and stuff, he's like, yeah, I got it. Then he like goes and moves his other foot over and he falls off the ladder. And he's like, all right, now throw over the tools. And they fucking throw over the pitchfork and it hits him in the head. And then they start laughing.
When he's getting out there and like they come out the back and they're like, is there another one or whatever? And he's like, yes, a fat one. It's like, how do you
that was the fat one.
Like, man, you know, at that point you just gotta hope they really are guilty. So like your charges are a lot lessened, you know.
Oh yeah, they're all going to jail.
Oh yeah, every single one of them. Now, that's an Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode. You know what I mean?
I like the shot they do when like after Art falls through the, you know, gets electrocuted and falls through the little garage or whatever it is in the backyard. They do a shot. It's overhead and it's like right, like they're getting stuff out of that shed, and it's a shot body through. Yeah, it's his body, the shape of his body, the hole that's left from it. It's just a cool shot.
Some Looney Tunes shit.
Yeah. There's little stuff like that. And freaking the soundtrack, the score that Jerry Goldsmith did. Oh my gosh, dude. I think that's what makes this film, you know, iconic almost, because it's like there's so much music in this film and it's just it fits everything fits the scene appropriate, you know. Like if you took away the music, I think you would take away a character almost of the film, because it just sets the mood, you know, all the just the different little things, the nuances about how, you know, even like at the beginning when they're introducing the neighborhood, it's all upbeat and everything like that. And then Walter lets the dog run, and it's like he makes the music kind of fit into it, where it's like,
yeah,
right. It kind of sounds like a dog, you know, bark or whatever a little bit. And it's just, you know, it's just a great score. You know, Jerry Goldsmith did like the Rambo scores, and he's done so many films, and you know, this one is just magnifique.
But the combination.
What I found out too that I thought was funny was this is the first movie that the intro Universal logo was changed and like animated into like the globe, and then it kind of like just zooms in their town.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Google Earth stole their idea from the Burbs.
Right.
Dax, when that came up on the screen when it first started, he goes, "Wow, Universal looks really old."
Yeah, but they said that was like the first movie that actually altered the intro logo, and then after that, it was the '89 Batman.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Where you going, Pinocchio?
It came with the frame.
For some reason, the way that Bruce Dern always says Hans Christian Andersen, ever since I was a kid, Hans Christian Andersen. Like, I don't know. He's such a creepy old man anyway. But see, I remember watching that, and then like years later, I think it was USA had one of their like USA special movies or whatever the hell it was called, like Into the Badlands. Do you remember that one by any chance? It was like a Western, but it was like a Western horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I think he was a bad guy in it. Like, and it was just like, this is the character that he looks like he would be. Okay. Like, yeah. Like, is he still around?
Bruce Dern's still alive, yes.
Okay. Wow. He outlived Artie.
Yeah.
I just saw him in something a few years back.
Well, he was in Django, and he was in Hateful Eight.
So that's what I'm saying. Hateful Eight.
What was other than that? Like, it was something else after Hateful Eight. And he played like a crazy badass kind of guy. He was like kind of like the head of like some kind of like mercenary squad or some shit, where he was like the one hiring people to kill people or some shit. It might have been a Steven Seagal movie. I don't even know.
That sounds familiar, actually. That's the thing about Bruce Dern. Also, is he's an actor that's been in so many damn movies that a lot more than you even like really actually think about, because we only think about those few movies that
the good
this
ones.
one being like the only one that like really really full on comes on mind.
He was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, okay. I have not seen all of that one yet either.
Yeah, remember Spawn Ranch where Manson and them lived? He plays.
Is he playing Spawn? Is he playing? Oh, he is.
He plays George Spawn.
Interesting. Okay,
That is interesting.
Yeah,
I was 18 months in the bush, and I could snap your neck in a heartbeat.
It's like, how does he get that woman?
So over the top.
Like she must, like, he must have a lot of money, or she's got major daddy issues, maybe grandfather issues.
Pretty sure.
That is one scene that Dax was kind of like, I don't know if I should look at or not. When old girl was bending over,
her little nightie.
Yeah, but no, when she was bending over doing the
no tan lines.
Yeah, and Dax was like, it's like, it's okay, kid. It's okay.
Wendy Shaw, she did a lot of TV.
She did. She
what
played a
else?
Southern Belle of some sort. That's all I can't remember what it was. Was she on Newhart or
Maybe.
something like that?
I think so.
Was anybody else a Bob Newhart fan?
It's around the same
Whatever.
time frame.
My brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl.
And a lot of these same people were in Joe Dante's Inner Space.
Oh, the Martin Short movie.
Martin Short and Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, dude,
that
was a movie. That was a movie from my childhood that I
used to rent that shit from the library all the time.
Me too. Yeah, same. Right along with Spaceballs. No shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, that's one that I need to revisit. I haven't seen that one since I was.
That's kind of up there with like Nothing But Trouble, kind of like, you know what I mean? One of those
movies
forgotten movies.
Yeah. Because that one had a lot of good actors in it too, and yeah, it didn't get half the love I think it should have. But then again, as a kid, I really loved it. I mean, the whole premise of that movie is pretty far out and crazy. As an adult, I don't know. I have to go back and look and see if it holds up. Because like I almost could see like that kind of like premise not holding up too well. But
yeah, she's in Inner Space, and both Robert Picardo and Dick Miller, the guys that play the trash men in the Burbs, they're both in Inner Space. Dr. Klopek, Henry Gibson, he's in Inner Space. So a lot of these guys,
he's a doctor in that too, isn't he?
I think so. And,
it makes sense.
A lot of the same people he worked, that worked with Dante on Interspace came over to the Burbs as well. So,
See, I didn't know that he made Interspace.
yeah,
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah, that was a classic. Such a good movie.
The Burbs, man, one of the best. They don't
another
make
one.
comedies.
We just sit here and play it and watch it and talk about it and just have a
Yeah, I
great
wish
time.
we could. That'd be so fucking good.
There is a way we could go around doing that, but
We just couldn't stream it. I mean, we could stream it, but we couldn't put it on YouTube
yeah.
It's all-
unless it had no volume and we just had like earphones in listening to the movie.
Well, there's
Talking
different
over
ways.
it.
There's different
Unless
ways
we
that
did a
people
watch
do it.
party.
Well, that's what there's different ways. Like there's people that go through and do like reviews, and they just do certain scenes, and it's cut, so they're not showing it in full.
Yeah.
And then there's other times when people are like, they set it up to say, hey, we're doing like a watch along type thing, and you turn it on whenever we turn it on, and we'll just comment it because we're both watching it at the same time.
Right.
So maybe we could do something like that in the future. I don't know, but
Yeah, possibilities. I'm down.
It's kind of funny because me and Dave will do that shit. Like, just chilling. We'll be like, "What do you like?" I think that's how we watched Blood Lake. Whenever we were on Horror with Sir Sturdy the one night, and he told us to watch Blood Lake, and since we're cheesy, shitty horror fans, fucking we checked it out, and that's how we both watched it. We were like, "All right, so at the count of 3, press play," and then we got fucked up because we got ads at different times.
Right. One of my buddies who lives a few states over, we do very similar, and a lot of times we have to make sure it's movies that there's no ads in, because we thought that the ads came at the same time. Apparently.
You would think, right?
I mean, yeah. Why would they change it up? That's fucking bullshit. It's just harder on the computer.
Or
right?
like one person only has like one ad, the other one has 2.
Yeah. It's
like,
what the fuck, man?
it came with
You guys
the
are
frame.
fucking up my whole streaming experience.
Or like if you get the streamings that were like it's literally every 10 minutes. Hey, I need you to pause. No, it's coming up, Matt. You're gonna have to rewind. It's paused. Okay. All right, it's back on now. Oh shit! I wasn't paying attention.
Can fuck
Now you gotta
things
go
up
back.
pretty well on that one.
Yeah, that's why it's best to do it with DVDs. No problem.
Anything else you guys want to touch on and ready to wrap this one up, or you think we should go a little bit more? Anything we really missed?
Not off the top of my head.
Well,
It's
I'll
just-
tell you. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the thing that I get out of this movie, besides crazy laughs. I mean, watching it again after watching it a couple weeks ago, and just every time I watch it, I laugh my ass off.
Right.
Sure.
But the other thing that you got to really take away from this is, people in the suburbs, we're just not going to take it anymore. There you
They're
go.
fighting back.
That's right.
Were they cooking a goddamn cat over there?
Dude, that shit cracks me up.
Or
Like, I don't know why, but
whenever the bees come out,
run towards water, men.
See, I told Dax to pay attention. I was like, now look, you watched it not too long ago, but in this movie, now that you've seen it, pay attention to what's being said, because little things will be like kind of telling you that, it's like, even like when they're talking about at the beginning of it, the Klopex, and then oh well, they moved in a month ago, and then like, oh well, we haven't talked to them, and blah blah blah, and kind of builds you up to where you're kind of building the curiosity as well. And I love shit like that. So
I mean, the first scene you see them go to their house with the bees and stuff. Whenever they first knock on the little door knocker thing, the address is 669, and the other one spins around and it's 666. So that right there just goes to show like the fucking tone for the movie. Like, you're dealing with some crazy people next door.
Yeah.
and then
Classic.
and the ending, it's just so good. When they're digging and he hits the gas line, and the house blows up, and it's. And then, I don't know. I don't know how he did it, but whenever Tom Hanks comes out,
The
and
steps.
he's getting ready. Yeah, when he's getting ready to walk down the steps, he just kind of slides down, like. I don't know how he did it, but yeah, he did such a good job there. Acting like he was blown up, and and then he goes into that big, monologue, explaining it's not them, it's us. We're the crazy ones.
Nope.
Yeah,
Take me to the hospital. I'm sick.
It's such a good scene. Where he's playing the straight man again, and he's like, all of this stuff has made me crazy to the where I was obsessed that I trespassed into my neighbor's yard and broke into their house and blew up their house, and now look at me, and it's like I don't know. It's such a good scene. Tom Hanks did an amazing job in this, and it was just like when we were talking last week about George Weiner and Rick Moranis being so good. Every time they're on screen together, it was so good in Spaceballs, and the same thing with this one with Rick DeCommon and Tom Hanks. Every time they're on, even not taking anything away from Bruce Dern or Corey Feldman or that, because they're great as well. But whenever Art and Ray are together, they got such good chemistry and play off each other so well. Like I said, with George Weiner and Rick Moranis, you want to see more of them. And every time I watch the Burbs, I want to see more of Ray and Art. So,
well, I want to know what happened. Like every time I watch the Burbs, I'm like, I want to know what happens. Like just like what's the aftermath of this shit? You know what I mean? Like how bad is the divorce proceedings of Art's wife?
Yeah, I mean everybody broke a shitload of laws.
Yeah. Like how does Ray not have a divorce? Because Art is completely that friend where it's like like oh, is it a burglar? No, it's Art, and it's like thanks for giving him away. Like I don't know. It's man, so good. Yeah. And also like the scene like where he's like I'm sick, take me to the hospital, and he's like plops down, and then he gets he throws a fit, he like picks it up, throws it in the back of the ambulance, like
he actually ad-libbed that whole shit.
I'm blown up.
He ad-libbed that whole shit, like that was just all improvised.
Oh really?
Yeah,
that's great.
Because like Mike said earlier too, like that was during the writer's strike, so a lot of the shit they were trying to rewrite they couldn't, so they just fucking winged it.
Yeah.
And then that's the kind of shit that they came up with.
No, it was before the writer's strike, and then the ending was
find out what hospital.
Right.
Whenever the writer's strike's going on, you can't change anything. You can't.
Right.
Like if they had a script that was locked in, and they could follow that, but they'd have to follow it to the letter. And like Dante said, there was a lot of rewrites and a lot of.
Yeah, they said they went through I think 7 revisions before they actually settled on the original script, and then they even changed it more.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
But
crazy shit.
Such a fun film.
Definitely.
Anything else about the Burbs there, gentlemen? Aside from it being a classic film, and if you have not seen it, we really advise you to watch
Strongly
and see
recommend.
this wonderful movie.
Yep.
I mean, do we even have to say that at this point? Because like every time
it ends the same way almost every week.
Every week on this show, we say, hey, if you haven't seen it, it's like, why the fuck are they watching the show if they haven't seen it?
True.
Yeah.
True.
So.
If you haven't seen it, shame on you. Shame. Well, before Dave went next door to visit the new neighbors, he had set up our random video clip generator. So let's do this for the 101th time. And see what kind of shit we get today.
What is that slot?
Let's crank it up, fuckers. Tiger
बहुत चितवन को चितवा हूं.
What the?
I feel like our random clip generator is going through its kung fu phase.
Yeah, I was gonna say like another kung fu bullshit. Jesus Christ.
See, I love kung fu movies, so I don't care.
Yeah.
That shit's great.
Did you try my tiger style?
But let's see. Moving on to next week.
Moving on.
We will be going all the way back out to Aurora, Illinois.
Oh shit!
To watch the wonderful local
Wayne.
television show of Wayne's World.
Wayne's World party time. Excellent.
I'm
So
pretty
join
excited,
us next week as we talk about Wayne's World. We'll probably end up dipping into a little bit of both because those movies are just wonderful and it was hard to talk about one without talking about the other. So thanks again for joining us, and thank you for tuning in last week and everybody watching our video. We really appreciate that. I think we're up over 100 views on last week's video for our 100th episode special. Hopefully we can get you guys all to return in the future and keep watching. And we will see you next Tuesday.
God, I love this street.